This dress is special in the simplicity of the design and how efficient and how elegant it is. It's like a square and rectangle together, having this beautiful printed velvet to this very light translucent chiffon silk gives this airy elegance to it. It's a wonderful design, but it's not meant to last really. My name is Melina Plotu. I'm an associate conservator at the Costume Institute. When I come to work in the morning, I still sometimes can't believe I work here. So it's still a feeling, 5 years later.
Here at the Costume Institute, we mount exhibitions that focus on the techniques and artisanship behind fashion, histories of fashion, and social aspects of dress. Maria Monaci Gallenga was an Italian designer working primarily in Rome in the early 20th century. She was born in 1880 to a sort of well-to-do Italian family, and from a very early age she became incredibly invested in looking at historical fashion. Around 1910 she began to design garments for herself, and gradually she began to expand her business to create garments, printed textiles, and wall hangings. She lived in Paris from 26 to about 1934, going back and forth to Italy where production still occurred. Gallenga created a style that could be characterized as artistic dress. Her clientele was generally a very sort of cultured, international type of woman, artists, actresses, and aristocracy. She developed a really specific printing technique that was shrouded in secrecy. I'd spent some substantial time looking at Gallenga's work, in part for an exhibition that we mounted in 2019. So I had a lot of Gallenga sort of populating my subconscious. When I came upon the piece initially in our database, it was attributed to Mariano Fortuny, another designer who was working in Italy and shared certainly aesthetic affinities in terms of textile printing techniques. But as soon as I saw the piece, I knew that it was Gallenga. In fact, it's a very distinctive and striking textile design.
Let's look at the dress.
However, as soon as we unwrapped the sleeves, my heart sort of sank.
As you can see, it's not really looking good right now. We have a problem of staining first, so you can see all the brown stain on both parts of the sleeve, actually front and back, and left and right. In addition to that is the tension and the weight of the glass beads at the bottom. And this created a lot of tension and breaks all along the hem over there. I noticed around 4 or 5 old repairs, so old ones made with a mending technique. The silk is very brittle and falling apart, so you can see it here very well. So I think that very soon after this was made and worn, it was already very damaged because of the fragility of the technique. Here at the Costume Institute, we really want to show objects as close as how it was made, the initial concept of it. And with the condition of this dress, we were really far from its original state. We have signs of wear on this dress, so we know that this garment was worn often enough to have it torn in many places and repaired. It gave us a lot of indication about its past and how it was somehow cherished, because if you spend so much time repairing a dress like this one, that means you care about it. There are several layers of intervention here we could do. First one would be just to leave the sleeve as it is and conserve in situ the sleeve, having patches of silk under each tear, add another layer of fabric, right? So we will create more opacity and more, it will look darker.
Which is tough because this lightweight gossamer hand and fineness of the textile is part of what makes these sleeves so incredible. Yes. And even looking at the illustration that we have, she includes the flower pot you can see directly through the sleeve.
Oh, yeah.
Really emphasizes, yeah.
Now, if you wanted to go a little bit further, We could also think about a replica, if possible, if we can make a replica good enough. By doing so, we retrieve the original design intent. That means we won't show the original sleeve. But at this state of degradation, wouldn't it be better to have the sleeve kept in storage, kept safe without stress, and think about a solution maybe in the near future when we have better maybe conservation technique of materials available that help us just do a better treatment than what we can do now. When we thought about the option of a replica, we had to make sure we could find the right materials. This one, if it's not the right color, it's the right structure. I'm waiting for it to arrive undyed. It comes from Korea, so it's a long way. So we found the right fabric, but not the right color. It's not just about the color, it's about how it reflects the light. And I'm hoping that I can add the right color to that fabric. So what I'm ready to do now is remove the stitches along that line to remove the original sleeve from the velvet panel. We have sort of one shot to have it right. Great. It is detached now, and I will be able to transfer it in a box and prepare it for storage, so it can rest for a while. Removing the sleeve was one of the most nerve-wracking part of the treatment, obviously, and very intricate to do. And once the original sleeve was safe in a box in storage, I think it would be easier to move on to the next step for the treatment. With the silk that we dyed here, we ended up with the right color and the right texture, and it looked good. I was like, we're good to go. The original beads are beautiful Murano glass beads, and we had to think about how to replicate the pattern. So I had to hand paint the beads, and I think we were around 200 beads in total. But the yellow beads are similar size and weight of the original ones, so that will be very useful to recreate the weight on the chiffon sleeve when we have it on display. When I stitch, I'm thinking how perfect it must be. It's not really a moment when I'm dreaming, it's more like technical and perfectionist. I was told I was spending hours playing with threads and undoing knots when I was a baby, so I guess that was meant to be, I don't know. By making the replica, it was also very interesting to feel a bit like in the feet of the designer and the seamstress who made it.
When it came into the collection, this particular object did not have any stampings or markings on it. It was characterized as Italian, that much was distinctive, and they had expected that it was Fortuny. Such an incredible representation of Gallenga's work had never been attributed to her. Rather than keeping it in the archive and knowing that we'll never show it, this temporary intervention extends that conversation.
We have this idea of using a mannequin with an arm like holding it on the side, like on the advertisement we found in the archives. I think we are very excited to put it on the mannequin, really, to see if the chiffon we dye is as beautiful as it should be. Since we were able to put the dress on the mannequin, I'm super happy about it. It really looked like the dress was sort of back to life. But it was hard to imagine it because the original one was so damaged and so discolored and so torn. So I think it's really nice that we were able to match it this way. And we have all the beads now. So you can really see the tension and imagine why we had all those tears at the beginning.
I had sort of a sense of what it might look like in my mind, but seeing it in reality was just so impactful. The garment will be reattributed to Maria Monaci Gallenga, and I'm just really excited for the opportunity to have this piece on display and for our visitors to be able to see it as well.
Because that was the main reason why we did what we did, because otherwise it would have stayed in storage for another 50 years and nobody would knew about this dress and this designer. I think the result looks really fantastic, and so that's always a reward for me.